But Neeraj, what's the legal way forward? Do you believe, what are the checks and balances that legally can be put in to ensure that there isn't a repeat of this?
Well, first of all, Rajdeep, I think repeated reports, including the KPMG report, have said that far too many organizations in India have adopted a passive approach to unethical behavior on part of their employees. We definitely need better practices for corporate governance, risk management, etc. That will definitely be needed. In fact, reports have seen that very often the best that an organization does is to distance itself from the perpetrator of a fraud and not pursue a case. I think in future, the organizations will have to seriously pursue cases against perpetrators of fraud, better practices for corporate governance, and definitely from an investor's perspective who deals with a bank or any other organization with an employee who is definitely representing and is acting on behalf of the bank, I think liability, civil liability to recompense can be fastened on banks to that extent. Criminal, as I said, is a matter to be established by a matter of fact, whether the management or serious management was involved in it or not.
Sucheta, what would you suggest to the many people who follow you, your magazine, how do you avoid something like what has happened in the case of Citibank? I know it's involving high net worth individuals here, but obviously there is a lack of confidence tomorrow in any relationship manager that you might have. So what are the safety net, what are the precautions you would advise?
See, Rajdeep, I think you need better supervision, and I don't believe Citibank is as innocent as that. There is a culture today that a relationship manager who brings in big customers, so imagine this guy Shivraj Puri bringing in 400 crores of business or whatever Citibank thought he had brought in. He gets away with anything, including dumping all kinds of schemes onto these investors. That is the prevailing culture. Nobody wants to hear anything against these guys because they're bringing in business. That has to change. I don't think there was enough supervision. I don't think that means that there was a huge systemic issue where everybody from Vikram Pandit is responsible. I wouldn't even know whether the country head here is responsible. But if they were listening to what is going on, at least in the Gurgaon branch, I'm sure there would have been whispers about what Puri was doing. I think they had stopped listening because he was bringing business, and that has to change.
That's an important point. Suhel said that's part of it, isn't it? That here is someone who's bringing in a lot of money into the bank. Therefore, who knows? His activities perhaps weren't checked in the manner that they should have been. That, as Sucheta says, could be a culture perhaps that prevails today.
See, yes or no, but I'll only say one thing. No bank, especially a bank of Citibank's size and stature, will risk reputational damage for 400 crores. A. B. I think the bigger issue, and I mentioned this on your channel, the Raja case, have demonstrable punishment. Lock up the likes of Shivraj Puri, send them to jail and throw away the keys. Ketan Parekh is still out, holidaying in the Vilases or wherever the hell he goes to. Because in this country, white-collar crime doesn't get the punishment it deserves. A Bernie Madoff has been locked up for 150 years for a Ponzi scheme. You know what will happen here? This guy will get away because our judicial system is not robust enough, is not insular enough to make examples out of scoundrels and rogues like the Shivraj Puris of the world. So there are three things that need to be done. One, depositors need to be more aware. You must recognize a Ponzi scheme from a real scheme. Number two, you must have demonstrable punishment. If you need to tweak the civil and the criminal codes qua white-collar corruption, you must. And number three, you must have a situation where reporting and depositor relationships are more and better supervised. Okay. And that, I think, the RBI is already cognizant of.
Well, we'll leave it at that. Suhel said, Sucheta Dalal, Neeraj Kaul, appreciate your joining us. Maybe there are lessons to be learned by all of us, including certainly the entire banking system and indeed high net worth customers. Thanks very much for joining us.